Welcome to the Unlock the Genius Within show. I'm your host, Jordan DeBano, former salesman turned alchemist and creative. And on this show, myself and my guests will be breaking down the lessons, experiences, and secrets that we gained through bringing our creative genius to life. Thanks for joining me today, and let's get into the episode. Welcome back to the Unlock the Genius Within podcast. I'm your host, Jordan DeBano, and today we have another episode. Guys, first of all, thank you to everyone that reached out last week and specifically said, Jordan, new podcast format rocks. I love it. Fantastic. So, well, it was never going to change. I got the nudge to do it, so it was always going to stay the same, but I always appreciate the feedback. And if you guys are totally rocking with this podcast, you listen to this episode and you're like, man, that was so good. I would love a review. So you can head to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube. YouTube, just chuck it in the comments and say how much I rock and the show rocks and what you're learning. Or how funny you think I am, or not funny that you think I am. I don't even know if that made sense. But yeah, just leave what you're learning, because obviously I love it. And also it is very powerful for you, because if you do share what you took away, you are telling your subconscious how it's going to be from now. All right. Anyhow, let's get into today. So we are speaking about why we hold back, why I held back. You know, I'm going to go deep. I'm going to go deep today, guys. I'm going to give you so many things that I held back on in my creative journey. You know, just take a step out. I'm getting there. No, you're too close now. Too close. Got to pull back, right? And it's a big thing, because in society, especially in Australia, we've got this thing called tall poppy syndrome. Don't be too much. Otherwise, oh, look at this wanker, right? We've got that. So here, you know, what I've noticed, that, and this has come from just traveling so much in America, you know, you go over there, everyone is doing something. Like I was in LA, I'm in Ubers going back and forth between Staples Center and Venice Beach, where I was staying, Venice Beach to like Malibu. And I'm chatting with these Uber drivers, and all of them were like creatives, artists, right? I met rappers, I met voiceover, like actors and actresses. I met guitarists, and all of them were just going in detail about what they were creating. And I thought, man, this is awesome, right? But in Australia, like, you start telling people, just randoms I'm talking about here, not your community and people that are like, if you hang around like a conscious crowd or you're in an entrepreneurial circle, lots of people get excited about this kind of stuff. But if you just go like around talking about what you're doing, you know, the general consensus here at times is, right, okay, weirdo, because it's not normal. We've got a massive thing here, and it does annoy the shit out of me, but I have a different assumption, which is going to be a big theme today. We're going to have a huge theme about assumptions and how powerful it is to have a great assumption. Because for me, guys, assumptions allow like the playful, artistic speaker, coach Jordan to come out, this guy, right? But as soon as I'm like needing to be all courageous and brave and confident, I get weird, I get serious. I start like, you know, saying all this kind of stuff that's just not me. Right? It's just not me. Like I start trying to alter my state and be all like, ugh, fucking, I'm a beast, right? And it's just like, come on, man. Are you fucking serious? Settle down. What are you so serious for? It's just not my heart. Now, some people, it is their nature to be a bit more serious, but for me, it's not. So anyway, getting back onto like holding back. For me, there's been many things that I've done and have wanted to do for a long time, and I've held back on them. I'm still holding back today. It is part of the work I do, guys, is helping people see how they're holding back intuitively, like getting them to see their unconscious message that's dropping in to their subconscious, like the part of you that just creates your whole reality. we actually pinpoint what that message is. Now, for me, the big unconscious message of why I hold back is Jordan needs to be right. And if he's wrong, he's going to get judged and it's going to suck. And people are going to think he's weird and people are going to just, kick him out and done, like he's not part of the crowd. And for me, for so long, like I've had so many dreams, right? I remember when I was younger, this was the first kind of thing I started doing. I felt so ashamed of doing it. I was running my sports coaching business, my soccer coaching business. And I always had loved rap music. I still love rap music, but not to the degree that I did when I was like 15, 16. Anyhow, 15, 16, I was just coaching, listening to a lot of rap. I get to about 19, 20 years old, around then. And I start fucking like freestyling over beats, over just random beats on YouTube. And I was horrible, man. I was so bad. But as I was freestyling, I was telling myself how bad and how weird I sounded. And I was staying at my mum's house at the point, and everyone could hear me. And it was so like I had the assumption I'm not right doing this. There's something like that has gone loose in me. There's a screw loose, and this is just not cool whatsoever. Yeah. And the thing with that was, because I had that assumption, I started to rev myself up more when I went to rap. And all of a sudden, yeah, I strung a few words together, but like just the energy that I was giving off was just totally inauthentic. And, I sucked even more. Now, fast forward, so what was that? Oh God, I can't even remember what year it was, but it was like 19, I was about 19, 20. Fast forward to about 26 years old. I'd still been freestyling on and off. I'm living in my own apartment down in Port Melbourne. And the desire that like the freaking vision of being like this famous rapper came back. And man, I remember for like 2 months, I held back so much. I'm like, oh, I'm not good enough. What are all my entrepreneurial friends and my old clients going to think of me? They're going to think I'm a weirdo and that I've totally lost it. So same patterns coming back. And I remember for like those 2 months where I was practicing, just freestyling, writing stuff, I made the journey so much harder because I was trying to like overcome this assumption of I'm going to be weird if I do this. And then I remember, now again, I'm not encouraging you guys to do what I did next. But I remember one day and I used to get my best mate James on video call, and we'd kind of he'd throw a beat at me, and a topic, and I just start freestyling. This was like practice, right? And he was happy to help me, like always grateful for that time. And I remember one day, I just kind of said, "Fuck it, I'm just going to let loose. I'm going to let loose," right? And what I was really saying, just in hindsight, and please, I am not encouraging you to do this. I am going to be so terrifyingly weird that nobody will be able to say I'm fucking weird anymore. So so this was all unconscious, right? But looking back, this is exactly what I created. I'm like, I am going to preemptively strike everyone down by rapping so well, but so aggressively that everyone's going to kind of get scared, right? So I'm on this video call with my mate James. He throws up this beat at me. So for you guys that know, God rest his soul, Juice WRLD, fantastic rapper, brilliant, but like majorly talented artist. He threw out the beat, Lucid Dreams, amazing like guitar riff. I'm pretty sure he copied that off someone else, or he sampled it. But anyhow, that's a different conversation. And I started freestyling, and what came out of my mouth was just fucking like really out there, right? Let's just say that. And James is like, dude, make that a song. So here I am, right? I am creating this. I am focused on, I'm going to get there before you. I'm going to be weird. I'm going to be terrifying. I'm going to be like, out in front of you, so you can't do it. You can't call me that. So anyhow, like I have this freestyle and I am freaking out about the concept. I think it's brilliant. I think it's really out there. And then I just had this assumption. I'm like, fuck it. I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to go and do this. Right. So I held on to the freestyle for a while, but I had the intention, I'm going to write a song. Like I'm actually going to do a proper rap song about this. And what ended up happening was a producer, I met this producer that I ended up making quite a few songs with afterwards over in Europe. He had this particular beat that just fucking like made my, just really got me excited. Like it just made my skin crawl. Like I was, what are the words I'm looking for here? I had goosebumps, right? I just said a bunch of shit that did make sense, but goosebumps. I had goosebumps when I heard this beat. I'm like, this matches the freestyle. So anyway, I had released a few rap songs that were okay, but I'm holding back. But then this beat comes in. I'm like, all right, I'm going to blow up now. I'm going to do this. And man, I got to work. I wrote, I pulled out the freestyle, listened to it. I'm like, okay, let's write. And I just unleashed. I created this song. Some of you who have followed me for many years now and followed me through my rap journey, and there's probably a strong chance that you even love the song. And again, I do apologize that I took it off Spotify and everything, but it's just not what I want to create anymore. The song was called Psycho. Anyhow, created it, put it all together. I let loose. I included like these little samples of laughing and all this kind of stuff to like bolster how freaky the song was. And I finished it and I sent it to my mate James. I go, what do you think? And he goes, mate, this is a hit, right? So here I am. I'm in a weird state. I think I'm being totally authentic here, but I was in a pattern and I didn't even know it. Sorry, I just had an itchy nose there. Yeah, so that happens, right? And I'm sitting at my desk in my apartment and I'm going, do I fucking launch this? I don't think I can. And I remember I put a post out on my Instagram. I'm like, my rap song Psycho is about to come out soon. Right now, I still remember this night. Even my brother, he's going to hear me talking about this, but he sent me a message and he goes, mate, don't put it out there. I haven't heard it, but don't put it out there because like there's going to be a lot of stuff that may come back. He's a journalist. He knows all about that. So I listened, but still there was this part of me that's like, oh, I just got to do this. Like I really want to be a rapper and I really want the attention and I really want to make it. So I let it go for like maybe 2 months. Then I decided, nah, I got to release it. So I did. And man, I got the biggest response that I've ever got, like received in music. This was huge, you know, I think it was 2 nights from getting maybe like 50 streams on each song. I had 1,000 streams, something like, yeah, close to 2,000 actually within 2 nights. It's not massive by any stretch of the imagination, but for me, like I knew for a fact people that don't know who the hell I am are finding this song. And I was getting messages, people like, oh my God, I love this song. And other people were like, you are a fucking weirdo. So here I am, right? I have decided I am not holding back. I'm not holding back. But in the effort of not holding back, I have created something that was a product of me overcoming how terrified I was. And it was Psycho, right? The song literally says the state I was in. Now, you know, if you guys read my post on Monday, you would have seen I wrote a post about, I kind of wrote a post about this song and just the learnings I had from it. And today we're speaking about something different. But when you hold back and then like you make the decision to go, like this was very true for me. When I made that decision to go, I wasn't really letting myself go and be a free creator and just like actually express my heart. My ego's like, yeah, you're free now, but you got to overcome this assumption that you're weird and that you're a weirdo for wanting to rap. Where had I just said, well, what does my heart think about this? Okay, you want to rap? Why don't you just do that? And from that light state of, yeah, I just want to rap. I just want to rap. Not I want to rap and I'm going to need to rap to overcome my weirdness. If I just go, no, 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 I'm just going to rap. I can tell you right now, the song Psycho would have never existed. I would have written some other stuff. And I do have examples of songs that I did write where I was in that state. And no, they weren't massive hits, but I still remember there was this song I released from my last album. I'm not particularly rapping anymore. Like when I do relaunch my music, I may. But there were two songs on that album. One was called "Never Leave Your Side," and the other one was oh shit, it's slipping my mind now. It was "Manipulate." So sorry, it was "Manipulate," and that song actually did make the album, still in the vault somewhere. But "Never Leave Your Side," I remember people listened to that song. And again, it didn't get as much traction as Psycho or even Supernatural. Supernatural was not freaky like Psycho, but it had that like fuck you kind of mentality. But Never Leave Your Side, everyone that listened to that song, they messaged me and said, man, like, wow, I cannot believe you wrote a song about that. That was brilliant. And even the video that we did, it was like 5 or 6 minutes long. I got a full team. We did it in like a hotel because it was COVID. Things were really cheap, so we could go all out for this, and that got a very different response. And I remember, like, still to this day, I listen to that, and I'm proud that I created it because I was just rapping. That song I didn't even rap. I actually sung very poorly, by the way, but I'm still proud of what that song represented because it was about, the song's essentially about a forgotten part of yourself that you've suppressed and that you're ashamed of, and that when it rears its rear head, when it comes back out, you're like, oh fuck, oh my god, and you're realizing how much emotion has gone into pushing that part of you away. For me, this was like the artist. This was the artist in me. For many years, I was just this serious salesman, and then I remember when I let my agency go and I started having these visions and desires to be a rapper, a singer, and a writer and all this, I felt so ashamed. I felt like a loser. I'm like, God, man, the world is totally going to turn against me and think I'm a weirdo. And it really did. And there were so many other titles and definitions that were coming upon me that I was putting on myself, that I ended up, I remember I was in Byron Bay, I just surrendered to it. I'm like, this would make a great song. I'm just going to create this as a dialogue, and everyone could hear it. Everyone could hear what I was talking about. There was a nice tension resolution point at the end. The way the song finished, the way I got Lamac, the producer, to add strings and some synth, and because it went from like a rock song to, it was just, you can hear it. I love that song. Psycho was, look, I won't lie, some of the raps in that were fucking wow, but the message was trash. The message was trash. I'm not about that. So when we hold back, in summary, like for me, it was very much either I'm overcoming my resistance to doing the thing and doing the thing, if that made sense. And as a result, I create something that is resistance. Like you get it, because that was Psycho. It was a form of resistance. But then over here, when I just kind of let it go and I'm like, man, I'm just gonna do the thing. I created something that, 2 years on, I still am super, super proud of. It's a true reflection of my heart. So fast forward, I can give you another example of this when I held back. I'm writing my first ever book, The Salesman and the Smuggler. And I remember I'm at Torquay, I'm writing this book, and by this point I'm quite trained in taking the power out of my unconscious message, taking the power out of my ego and all the parts of me that try to protect me from being rejected, and putting it in my superconscious. And I created this story. Now, upon reflection, I did sabotage this, but this was in a sneaky way. And it was that the book is not going to make sense. The book is not going to make sense. Jordan, you're writing a fiction story for no reason. You have no reason to do this. Why are you writing a fiction story? Because in the past, coming from the coaching world and, having plenty of like multi-million-dollar coaches as my clients back in the day for my sales agency, whenever anyone in my circle wrote a book, it was to generate leads. It's like the book to make more sales, the book to be a masterful marketer, the book to reprogram your subconscious. Everyone did it to generate leads. So the book was basically a sales pitch. And that's the world I came from. But as I started to dive into the orientation of being just a creative and a creator of my heart, and that's it. That's the only reason I'm doing it, just to create what's there. I got a thing to write a fiction book about this salesman who's waking up. Again, the story's kind of partially about me, but when you read it, you just see it. It's like Jordan obviously did not go through this. The story's so wild, so out there. And I remember I got 3 chapters in and I wasn't aware that this message was going on, but I'm like, you have no reason to do this. Make up a reason to make this book have some sense. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to thread some sales lessons in here. So the book started to take a turn where the salesman is teaching the smuggler about sales and the smuggler is teaching the salesman how to survive out in the desert, which again, it's not a bad theme, but upon reflection, and again, I'm still very proud of what I created because it's my first ever book and, I went all in, but still, if I could go back and do that again, I probably wouldn't change it because I wouldn't have this insight. But the main thing that happened, because I made sense of what the book was doing or my reason for writing the book, I changed the story, right? So now I'm working on my second book. I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but it's a fiction book and it's a children's book. Whenever people ask me, so why are you writing a children's book? Like your last book was for adults, it was fiction. I said, well, just because it's there. And they go, right. I go, yeah, I got it in a meditation and I'm just doing it because it's there. And that might freak some people out, but now I know the power in that because it's like, no, well, this isn't about me. I don't need to be courageous to write a children's book. The book has come to me. The book wants to be expressed through me. So I am just going to do that. I don't know what's going to happen as a result. It may sit on my bookshelf next to the salesman and the smuggler and do nothing, or it could become a massive hit in the homes of many families where people learn, like, because part of the end result that I create in all my writing is sharing some wisdom in a transformative story, right? So that's the end result I'm going for. So to kind of go back, when you have an end result like that, you don't have a particular reason, but you have an outcome you're going for. But if I started going, okay, that's the result I want to create, but why? Why am I doing this? Man, I'll tell you right now, I'm going to screw this book up. I'm going to make it into something that it's not. And it's even like that for me right now with music and my business. And I will go into those 2 areas because this is the big theme that I haven't even broken through. I've just stepped out of it because I've got a new assumption. I am writing music again, right? And I have been working on my piano skills, more recently the guitar, and as of like 2 weeks ago, my vocals. I've been working on it tirelessly, particularly the piano ever since my rap run ended. So 2021, not that long. And more recently, it's been like, no, you're going to start writing songs again. And for months, guys, I was getting this bridge to do it. And my ego's at me, Jordan, you gave up rap. Why are you going back? Why are you doing this? And I couldn't come up with a reason until I realized, I go, I got you, you little sucker. I don't need a fucking reason. I don't need a reason. Why do I need a reason? It's here. Do it. Do it. And the minute I did that, guys, I tell you what, the last week, I've written 3 songs that have no fucking meaning at all. I still don't know what they're really about, but they're there. They're there. I don't know if I'm going to release them. I don't know what's going to happen, but the 3 songs are there. And the power, the freedom I feel for just writing songs again, writing songs, the beat, playing around with the different chords, taking out melodies and it's beautiful. It's beautiful because it's like, fucking hell, I'm being so free with my creations here. And there's no meaning to it. There's no meaning. So people like someone's recently, so Jordan, like, do you want to do this professionally? I go, that's not what it's about. My end result for my music is to create emotionally stimulating songs. I want to stimulate emotion when people listen. I want people to be impacted as a result of listening to my music. If I become famous as a result of that, so be it. If I don't, I don't care. Like, I'm serving the music. The music's there. When I pick up the guitar, I'm attracted to particular chords for a reason. Certain words match those chords. I don't know why it's happening, and I don't need to. It's not my business. It's not my business. That is my superconscious feeding me stuff. And maybe in like 3 years' time, I might look back and go, oh, that's why I was writing music. You know, I look back and I can tell you all this stuff about Psycho. I can even tell you why I created my agency, because it's in retrospect, because I created it and there's wisdom there. But like writing the songs that I am on the guitar, the piano, singing and a little bit of rap in there, like I have no freaking idea why I'm doing it, but I'm just doing it. Okay. I'm just doing it. And this is the thing, when we hold back when we think we need a reason. Okay, here we go. Bang. That's why I recorded this podcast. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But like, we hold back. We hold back when it's like, well, I'm going to be weird, or I need a reason to do this and I don't have a reason yet. You don't need a fucking reason. And guess what? If you just assume you're doing it for the sake of doing it, you don't need to be weird. Because here's what I've worked out for myself. Every time I have thought, you're going to be weird because you're writing a book, you're going to be weird because you're rapping, you're going to be too much if you speak about these topics in your business. I'm going to talk about that next. So this podcast is going to go a bit longer. I'm going to have to stop the recording in like a few minutes because it automatically cuts off, but we'll come back. But I've always made myself weird, or thought I was going to be weird when I'm creating, when it's been about me. And it's like, man, like I need this to create this. But when it's just like, mate, it's not about you. It's not about you, Jordan. Automatically, it's like, oh, well, yeah, great. Okay, I'm just going to create. Just going to create. The song is not about me. The book is not about me. Even if it is about me, it's not about me. This podcast, like, guys, seriously, this podcast is not about me. If I had had my way in recording this podcast, I would still be going, these are the 5 principles to disengage your ego, with a weird voice. But geniusly, in my meditations, in the structures that I teach, I got, Jordan, just fucking let loose, man. Have a good time on your podcast and share your experience. It made no sense to do that. I'm like, how are people going to learn about what I do in my business? It made no sense, but I'm doing it because it's there. Yeah. Very, very powerful principle. And, you know, I'm yet to do this. I'm yet to do this in my, well, kind of in my friendship circles and my family, but I'm yet to do this in my love life. I will give you more updates when I do. That has been, yeah, I just haven't done it yet. So now that I've spoken it out loud, I will do that there. But it's the pure state of the creative. You do things because they're there, not because you have a reason to. Like, powerful story. If you guys are Prince fans, we're going to speak about Prince for a little bit because I love Prince. I think he's a genius. You know, you listen to Purple Rain. Now, those of you that are like real Prince fans, you'll know what that song's about. But if you don't, if you were to just guess, if you've heard Purple Rain, what do you think that song's about? You would think he's singing about a girl that he lost, a partner he lost. Okay. Now, I did some research on Prince because I love his music. And in an interview, he said that song is actually about the world coming to an end. The purple rain, a meteor's dropping down, and you can see it. And you know that you've only got a few seconds left to live on the planet. So you go to your loved one, confessing all the things you wish you would have confessed. That's what the song's about. Now, have we gone through that? Did Prince go maybe in a dream or on some well, actually, I'm not even going to say that because I don't even know if he did drugs or not. But did he actually go through that reality? No, he wouldn't have, because the world's still here. So that song actually doesn't have much meaning, but it's brilliant. I mean, for me, again, I'm saying something quite controversial here, but for me, that is the best song that's ever written. Because my favorite song might not be your favorite song, but for me, that song just hits home, right? And it's got no meaning. It's got no meaning. It's beautiful. Anyhow, we're about to finish this section of the podcast. When we come back, I will be sharing my experience with journeying this in my coaching business. Okay. And Zoom, we'll be back soon. Okay, welcome back to the Unlock the Genius Within podcast. And we are going to spend a little bit more time on this episode because I have some more to share about this topic of holding back, because, you know, being afraid of what people may think and, you know, letting yourself be seen, letting your heart be seen, not having reasons why you're doing things. And, you know, society tends to look at that in a particular way. I'm going to talk about my coaching business because for me, this has been a massive thing that I've felt like I've had to overcome for the last, for probably ever since I started in business. So actually, I wouldn't say ever since I started in business, ever since I ended my first sales job. Yeah. Anyhow, let's talk about this, because here's the reality, guys. If I go back to that first sales job I had, I remember being incredibly inspired and interested in people like Tony Robbins, Dr. DeMartini, Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle, all these guys that spoke about, you know, how to get the most out of yourself, how to be, you know, how to have a great mindset, how to feel better, how to perform and get amazing results in business. And I really admired how they had drawn all these crowds and got to be up on stage and speak. You know, that was something that when I looked at it, I'm like, man, I want that. I really, really want that. And I remember throughout my time in sales, obviously, you know, that in that environment, it's very much based on the assumptions of there's a way things work. You have to say certain things to get people to take action. It's a very manipulative environment that's off the assumption that you need to control others to get what you want. And so I've got this whole thing going on with the personal development world, and then I've got this sales job, which was actually in, I wouldn't say personal development, but the professional development space, business coaching. And lots of people were telling me at the time, man, you're so like wise, you've got a lot of knowledge and things that I was learning, you should go do it. But of course, my managers and stuff, when we do like goal setting with them and I'd tell them what I was after, they'd say things like, you know, mindset, you've got to be older. I was like 22 and stuff. It's going to be hard, you know, there's a lot of competition. And they were just looking out for me at the time. I get that. There's no hate towards there. But what it did was, from my own ability to make things up, I made up that I can't speak about these things that I love because it's not enough. It's not going to stand up. People are not going to be able to make sense of it. People are going to be asking, well, you're just this young kid. Why are you speaking about it? What's your reasoning? What's your credentials? And right? Projecting their own shit. But I didn't want to face that. So what did I do? I got out of that. I went and took a bunch of courses. I went deep into the DeMartini work. I went deep into Tony Robbins, Wayne Dyer, got my facilitation as a DeMartini facilitator, and I started running sessions. But I had this thing. I'm going to link it back to sales because that's what I know. So, of course, what started to happen was I had these two voices in my head when it came to my coaching business. It's like, you love helping people optimize their life so that they can just get more out of themselves. Now, that was like one area. That was like the mindset area. Then over here, it was like, well, I'm helping people have a better mindset for sales. But I thought I needed to do that to do the mindset work. So it's like, well, I need to do this for sales because this is what makes sense. Just being a guy that teaches this mindset system, I mean, that's not good enough. But here's what I shut myself off from at that time. I did not know where that was going to lead. My reasoning to go into sales was because it had a reason, because it made sense. But this thing over here where it's just mindset, I don't know where that could have taken me. I still don't, right? I still don't. I have no idea. It might have taken me off into helping people with their relationships. It may have gone into work with athletes. It would have taken on a life of its own because it didn't have a reason. So it could be its own reason. You get what I'm saying here? Like, you can hear the in my voice, right? It's because it was just, and this is something I didn't understand at the time, but the work would have taken on a life of itself. The business would have taken on a life of itself, and it would have had its own reasons for existing. But no, Jordan was like, well, I need to give it a reason. It can't just exist. What's my reason for doing this? How can I make logical sense? So I went sales, done. Right now, where did that take me? Well, then helping people with their mindsets and whatever in sales. Eventually, that didn't become enough, and it was like, fuck it, I'm going to teach people how to sell, and that's what I did. I started teaching people how to sell for a little while. Then that got to a certain level of money, and because I was in that wave and pattern of creating, the next thing came along. It was like, great, I'm at this much money. I want to make more. What else can I create to go to the next level? And that's where the sales agency came in. And yes, it helped me get to the next level. But guys, like a few years down the track, I was super overweight, super unhappy. I'll say it. I don't think I've ever spoken about this on the podcast, but I was having suicidal thoughts, major anxiety attacks, and it just was. And now all of that stuff was happening because I created it. I said, my heart doesn't matter. It has no reason. My heart needs a reason. You see how fucked that is? Your heart doesn't need a reason. But back then I believed it, like, my heart needs a reason. So we're going to give it a reason, and this is the way we're going to go. And the ego thinks that is the way it's going to keep you safe. But staying safe is not thriving. It's not being in your full creative potential where you can expand and grow without reason. That's the whole point, right? No reason. So I go in and I've built up this freaking huge jail that with golden jail, by the way, plenty of money, plenty of success, huge clients, massive retainers. I can go wherever I want in the world, whenever I want, but I was dying inside. And it all started because I thought I needed a reason. So I just want to let you guys know, you don't need a fucking reason for anything. Just create it because it's there. And you know what's so amazing about this? You don't need to go searching for what you love. You don't need to feel a certain way about it, because I'm telling you right now, if music has taught me anything, if writing has taught me anything, if my coaching business now has taught me anything, when you don't have a reason, you experience levels of love that you've never experienced before. I'm going to tie it in with this, tie in this podcast and wrap it up with this. My coaching business now, right, is about teaching people how to create results like they are a magician. Literally, that's what this work's all about. It is about tapping into that part of you, that super conscious part of you that can literally create what your heart wants and bring it about like it's magic. Now, when that first came in, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? No, I don't want to do that. And I saw myself teaching it to corporates, like real businessy people. I'm like, I don't want to do that. But I'm telling you now, guys, I've answered the call. I've gone deep into it. And you know what's happened? I've opened up. I found me as a result of serving something that was never about me. I found me. Why? Because I still don't know why I'm being guided down that path. I don't know why I'm doing that. Teaching people how to create magic. Come on, right? My ego can't make sense, but just when I'm creating it for no reason, it's brilliant. Fuck, I love it. At the start, I didn't like it at the start. I'm like, let me go back to sales coaching. But it's like, yeah, we can justify why you're doing that. But without reason, without sense, here you are. Oh, man. Wow. Yeah. So I want to challenge you. I want to wrap up this podcast with this. If you're in a place where you're low on confidence, you're low on courage, you're low on self-worth, whatever the personal development bullshit has convinced you you're low on, just ask yourself this: what reasons am I telling myself? What reasons do I need to do something? And then ask yourself, what is going to happen if I just had no reason? No reason, nothing, nada. I was just doing it. No reasons. Zero. Well, it's scary. So what are people going to think? But then I want you to take it a step further. If you had no reasons for doing something, but you knew your job was to just serve what has come through, how do you feel then? Just imagine it's not about you. Your job, your structure for creating is to serve the genius of the thing that's in front of you. Serve the song, serve the book. When you go and perform a song, like one of my bridges now is to get up on stage and perform. I can't sing. I'm okay on the piano. I'm okay on the guitar. I can rap. But like I've got the bridge to go perform something. I still don't know what I'm going to perform. But I know it's not about me. I need to serve that bridge. Go serve the performance. And something will happen. It might be good, it might not be, but I know that I'm serving it, and that's all that matters. So for me, whether I embarrass myself, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm serving it because, and I have faith. Here's the kicker. Here's what will make you go all the way. I have faith now that by jumping and serving the thing, that there's going to be something at the end of it. There's going to be a ripple effect by serving the book, by serving the performance, by serving the weird or new business, and just going with it and just serving it, putting it out, putting it here in front of me. And I'm like, I'm behind this and I'm going to serve this. There is always something there at the end. It could be truckloads of money. It could be new insights. It could be letting go of past stories that you just don't need anymore. But it all happened because you served something instead of serving yourself. Instead of serving yourself, guys, I overcame some of the most darkest moments in my life because I finally just got to this place where I'm like, fuck it. Nothing's about me. I just want to serve. I just want to serve something, like get me out of my head. It's pointless. It's like when I hear people say, well, I don't believe in it. Why do you need to believe in it? I don't feel good about it. You don't need to feel good about it. Easier said than done. I go through this every day, guys. Like literally, I'll be doing something. I'll go, oh God, I don't feel like it. That's the constant battle. But then I remind myself, oh, right, I don't need to feel good about it. I don't need to think. I just need to serve. And magic happens. Magic happens. Let's wrap it up there. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend that needs to hear this right now. My end result for you guys that are listening, okay, is that you have a streak of inspiration to go and follow your genius. Whatever it is, go follow your genius. If you're an executive listening to me, bring more of your genius to your company. If you're an artist, a songwriter, a writer, I want you to go write that book, write that song and launch it and go perform it and rock that shit on stage. That's my end result for doing this. I want to use the power of my voice to impact you, okay, in some way. And if that has happened today, I'd love for you to go leave a review and go share it with a friend. Go share it with a friend that needs to hear this, because the world is a better place when we have more creatives creating things that just don't make sense, because we get out of our senses. We get out of what we know and we're expanded. with the art, with the creations, the businesses, the leadership that we see. It's all beautiful and it's all needed. Anyhow, that's enough from me. You guys stay inspired, subscribe, review if you've enjoyed this, and we will see you next time.